let us, first we will sing Jai Radha Madhav and then we will discuss something. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Everyone please Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gopi Vallabh Radha Gopi Vallabh Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Sudarshana. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Louder please. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopi Vallabh ki Jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maiya ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our ISKCON Boston Sunday Feast program. We have this every Sunday program going on since the time of Srila Prabhupada, since he established ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada, as most of you may know, he is the great saint who founded ISKCON, risking his own personal life, taking so many personal risks. He came to the West from India and he established this wonderful international society for Krishna consciousness. And he touched the lives of thousands and thousands of souls, bringing them to the path of Krishna consciousness, the path of pure unconditional love for God, for Krishna, who is the personal form. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So, yes, we are very grateful to Srila Prabhupada, and before every lecture we make sure to offer our pranams to him. Okay, so we will get started. So today we will discuss a little bit about memories and how memories accumulate and how they determine our destiny, and how rather than gathering material memories, we can focus on gathering spiritual memories. So, memories is something that enables us to revisit our past. The time factor works in such ways that we cannot go back in the past. The time helplessly pushes us forward, and we can neither jump ahead in the future nor can we go back in the past. But still, our memories allow us to revisit the past. Now, what kind of memories we cherish, it's also pretty much indicative of what attachments we have, what attachments we hold. So, one of my mentors had told me long ago, when this was in the starting years of my Krishna consciousness. In 2010, one of my mentors had told me, if we meditate on our materialistic past, and if we cherish those memories, oh how nice those days were, it means we are holding material attachments. And such cherishing of material memories which are not connected with God, it can sow the seeds for future births. It means we are still, naturally, isn't it? When we cherish some materialistic memories which are not connected with God, which are more or less connected with temporary enjoyments of this material world, when we cherish such material memories, what does it mean? We value those experiences, and our value system is aligned around those experiences, and we want them again and again. And naturally, then what are we what is the message we are passing out to the cosmos and to the Supreme Lord Himself? That I like this material world, and I want to have more and more such material experiences, and then fine, per our desire, we the nature reciprocates with us. The nature, which is ultimately under the control of Krishna, God, reciprocates with us. Okay, fine. If you like material experiences more, yes, you can stay in the cycle of birth and death. It's natural, isn't it? What we desire is what we get. Now, when we there's a technical Sanskrit word called samskaras, which means what impressions we carry in our consciousness, in our subconsciousness, and even in our conscious self, what impressions we carry. So, yeah, and that is what determines how we respond to situations, and what our value systems are, what our lives are centered around. So, everything we do in this world, every experience we opt for in this material world, it creates a samskar in our consciousness. And these samskaras, these impressions we accumulate throughout our lives, they keep getting accumulated, deposited in our consciousness. And now Krishna mentions one principle in the Bhagavad Gita. Please repeat these two verses after me. This is 8th chapter, 5th verse. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. So Krishna, he describes in the 8th chapter. The 8th chapter. Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maiya ki jai. So in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it begins with Arjun asking around 6 questions to Krishna. And the first 5 questions Krishna answers in just 2 verses. The first 2 verses of 8th chapter are Arjuna's questions. The next 2 verses, 8.3 and 8.4, Krishna answers 5 of the questions. And 8.5 onward, Krishna is answering the 6th question. And the answer to the 6th question goes all the way through the end of the chapter. The 8th chapter has 28 verses. So, what was that 6th question of Arjun? The question was, my dear Lord Krishna, how can those conscious of you remember you at the time of death? So, then Krishna starts answering. First of all, he gives some general principles, and then he talks about the difference between material world, spiritual world, and then different times when we pass away from this material world, what destination it leads us to. So the science of leaving this world is spoken about. We hear of the art of living, right? So in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes the art of leaving from this world. And it is pretty significant, how we leave from this world. So, in this 5th verse that we just recited, Krishna specifically talks about, he goes right to the main point, because Arjun was interested in knowing how can somebody remember Krishna at the time of death. So Krishna begins by answering that by remembering me at the time of death, one attains me. So for one who remembers me at the time of death, I am surely attains me. Yati nastyatra samshaya. There is no doubt about it. One who quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains me. There is no doubt about it. Uh, s- yeah. Could we do that toward the end? We will leave some time for question and answers toward the end. Thank you. But yeah, questions are always welcome. So, so in the fifth verse, Krishna spoke about remembering him at the moment of death, and then we attain him. Now, in the sixth verse, Krishna gives the general principle. So, let us recite this verse as well. The sixth verse, please repeat after me. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitah. So in the sixth verse, Krishna, I would have loved to, but somehow there's no help to put it up. Yeah. So the translation is, whatever one thinks of at the moment of death, one attains that without fail. So now, naturally, what will we think of at the moment of death? What we have done throughout our lives. The deepest attachments we have cultivated throughout our lives, they come to surface. They come to our consciousness at the moment of death. And that our consciousness at the moment of death determines what our next destination will be. So, now, of course, our next destination, there are two things involved here, what we desire and what we deserve as well. So, two D's, desire and deserve, determine our destination. So, I may desire to become the president of US or prime minister of India, but I should also deserve it, right? So, it's a combination of what we desire and what we deserve is what takes us to our next destination. I may deserve something, but if I do not desire it, then yeah, naturally, I won't go there. Or likewise, I may desire something, but I may not deserve it. So again, I wouldn't attain that. So it's a combination of desire and deserve. The deserve part is the laws of karma. We hear of karma so much, right? And the desire part is what Krishna is talking about here. What we think of at the moment of death. What our deepest attachments are. That is what will determine where we go next go. The deserve part will determine, okay, say somebody who desires to eat a lot of meat, flesh of some animals. So that's the desire, and if that desire comes to surface at the moment of death, then the next destination one gets will be a body where one can freely do that. Animals like tigers, lions, or jackals. Now, even among them, tigers and lions, they are considered higher than the others, right? Higher than hyenas and dogs. So, even for that, there may be the deserve part comes into picture. Then, so yeah, it's a combination of what we desire and what we deserve that takes us to our next destination. So, for us as spiritual practitioners, what consciousness do we accumulate throughout our lives? What memories we create is what will determine our next destination. So, for us, what we consider of paramount importance is that we fill our consciousness with thoughts about Krishna, more and more remembrances of Krishna, of God, Krishna's sweet nature, his sweet name, his beautiful form, Krishna's beautiful qualities, how loving the Lord is, and his beautiful leelas, his activities, how Krishna has reciprocations with his devotees. And it is for this purpose alone, to enable living entities to know about him, to think about him, that God, time and again, descends into this world. God descends into this world to advertise himself. This is a sweet advertisement. That come back, my dear children, turn toward me. You are living in such stupor, wallowing in such stupor. Please turn toward me. You are living a life of ignorance. Please turn toward me, my dear children. Krishna comes to advertise himself. Time and again he descends. And at other times, and most other times, even more often than God's own descent, God sends various messengers and saints and prophets. In India, so many saints have descended. And even in other parts of the world, time and again, Krishna sends saints like Jesus Christ. Such a lover of God he was. But of course, Jesus Christ could only reveal certain information. In fact, it is said in the Bible somewhere. Jesus Christ says, I have many things to tell you, but you do not have the ears to hear. So he could reveal only as much information as the audience was able to take. So where the audience is able to take more information about God, more information about God is revealed. So, yes, Krishna, God, descends into this world time and again to remind us of our forgotten connection with Him, to help us become more and more conscious about Him. Hare Krishna. And to know more about Him, to form memories about Him. And now, we may say, okay, but I'm unfortunate. I haven't taken birth at the time when Krishna had descended or when Lord Chaitanya had descended. So what about me now? Still, the Acharyas have left such a treasure of wisdom. Such wonderful literatures have been left for us. When we relish them, when we read them with deep relish, it begins to transform our consciousness. It begins to fill our hearts with memories about Krishna, with more and more thoughts about Krishna. And such devotees who deeply dive into the scriptures, who sincerely chant the holy names attentively, and who hear the various leelas of the Lord, pastimes of the Lord, who have a taste for Krishna Katha. Such devotees, with time, as time passes, they accumulate more and more spiritual impressions, spiritual samskars. And these impressions, they get accumulated throughout the life, and naturally at the moment of death, that is what will come to surface. And then naturally one can attain Krishna, one can attain God. So, we just saw this these two verses from 8th chapter, 8.5 and 8.6. 8.5 is where Krishna specifically talks about how remembering Him at the moment of death, we attain Him. And in 8.6, he generalizes the principle. Whatever one thinks of at the moment of death, one attains that. So in Bhagavatam, we hear of one famous story. Let's see who can point out, where somebody thought of someone at the moment of death and attained that form.
His son's name was Narayan.
That is Ajamil's story. But that is a different case. I'm specifically talking about somebody thinking of someone else at the moment of death with deep attachment and infatuation, and he attains that form. In the next birth.
You mean like Jada Bharat?
Yes. Bharat. King Bharat.
Maharaj.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. So this comes from the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where King Bharat, he had attained a very exalted platform of devotion. He was just one step away from pure unconditional love. There are different stages of progress in devotion defined in one scripture called Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So it begins with Adav Shraddha. Adav Shraddha is preliminary faith that brings most of us to the temples, and sometimes people think, oh, I also like Krishna, but that like is way different from unconditional love for Krishna. That like, oh, I like going to Krishna temple, I'm a pious person, I'm a pious Hindu, or whatever, such conceptions. These are categorized as Adav Shraddha, having some preliminary faith. But then there are higher and higher stages of devotion, and the penultimate stage is called Bhav. So King Bharat, he had come up to that stage. And the final stage is called Prem, which is unconditional love. So King Bharat had reached up to that stage. But however, yeah, at one point of time in life, he renounced his kingdom. When his sons had grown up, he passed down the kingdom and he took care of all those affairs. He wasn't attached to the throne. We see today's leaders, they are attached to their thrones right until the fag end of their lives. We saw in the recent presidential elections of the United States how Biden and Trump had both, they were having some debate, and in that debate people realized, hey, Biden has become too old. And then he had to step down. So we see today's leaders, they are so attached to holding on to their thrones right until the fag end of lives. But the Vedic kings, they were perfect. They were, because they were God conscious. So they knew the essence of human life is not accumulating opulences or getting more and more control in life. So King Bharat was one such amazing, great personality. He renounced everything at an appropriate time and he went to the forest to fully focus on Krishna. But he got distracted there. He saved one deer, a baby deer. I think a baby deer is called a fawn, right? He saved a fawn and he kept the fawn in his ashram for some time, and then he gradually got attached to the fawn, almost like one would get attached to one's own child. And he got distracted from his spiritual practices. And at one point when the fawn grew up, the fawn went away in its own journey. And King Bharat, he was by this time madly infatuated with this fawn and with this deer. And he went out searching for the deer. And just like a maddened lover who sings in songs, oh, why did I give my heart to you? Oh, where are you? Where can I find you? So King Bharat, he began speaking these kind of words. He said to the earth, oh earth, you are so fortunate because you have received the footsteps of my dear. Oh moon, you are so fortunate because you are able to see my beloved deer. But I am unable to see. So wandering around, searching for that deer in various hills and forests, in that fatigue he died. He fell down and died. So at the moment of death, his consciousness was filled with thoughts about that deer. And the next life he got was that of a deer. However, Krishna promises in the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 40th verse, Neha bhikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So Krishna informs us in the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, that any spiritual progress we make is never lost. Material progress we make is lost at death. The time factor snatches it away from us. No matter how much money we may earn, even if we earn billions of dollars, at death it is all taken away. We cannot carry it to our next lives. But spiritual progress we make in this life is carried forward. So King Bharat, as we were mentioning some time ago, he had reached the penultimate stage of devotion. So the devotional credits he had were never lost. So in the body of that deer, he remembered his mistake in his past life. So he was ever cautious. Even in the body of that deer, he would hang out around sages. Other deer would go out far away in search of green grasses. And he would be satisfied with dry grass, which usually deer may not find palatable. But he did austerities even in the form of that deer. He would be around the sages who would chant God's holy names, who would chant mantras. And being in the body of the deer, he couldn't himself chant, but he was waiting to get a human form again. So he left, he quit his body at an appropriate time in the body of the deer, and after that he attained one more human life. And in that life, what an exemplary life he led. This is all described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto. I would highly recommend everyone to get copies of Srimad Bhagavatam and read it. Read it and relish it. So, reading scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, it forms deep spiritual impressions, memories about God, about Krishna. And if we carefully read scriptures like Bhagavatam, what happens is, just like there is our bodies are built on top of our skeletons, right? There's the basic fundamental structure of our bones, and then we have flesh and other bodily organs around that. So, the basic template of our consciousness begins to change. And our consciousness, our subtle body itself begins to change as we read Bhagavatam, as we dive into these scriptural messages, the powerful message of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, as we try to relish it, as we carefully read it with great reverence and respect. And that begins to give a shape to our subtle body. Our subtle body, the scriptures talk about two kinds of bodies, the gross body and the subtle body. So, reading scriptures like Bhagavatam, which are filled with the message of unconditional love for God, for Krishna, that begins to give a shape to our subtle bodies. And then, naturally, as we come to the fag end of our lives, we have accumulated these powerful spiritual impressions. And the template of our next body is already ready. And if our subtle body is purified enough, then after we leave this body, we don't take any more births. We attain the highest spiritual perfection. We go back to Krishna, back to God. So in his third life, King Bharat, he was born as a human being, and the way he led his life, it's very amazing and exemplary. Of course, we cannot imitate his life, and we have around 10 minutes left, so we don't have time to go into the details of how Jad Bharat led his life, but it is just mind-blowing and amazing. And how he attained spiritual perfection at the end of that life. He went back to Krishna, back to Godhead. So, this same King Bharat, who was born as Jad Bharat 2 lifetimes later, he was ever cautious not to add any dirty impressions into his consciousness. So, like, we can take that inspiration from his life, and we can ask ourselves this question seriously. Am I adding spiritual impressions to my consciousness, or am I adding more and more material impressions? So material impressions, they also get accumulated over time, and they form the template of our next body. So, sorry?
What did you just say? They form what of our next body?
The template.
Oh, they form
The template of our next body. So, in this connection, there's a very inspiring episode from Ramayana. As you may know, when Lord Ram was in search of Mother Sita, he made friends with Sugriv. Sugriv sent Vanaras in different directions. One major party was sent to the east, one party to the west, one party to the north. And in the southern direction, where there was highest probability of finding Mother Sita, because the Vanaras had seen a demon abducting a lady and flying from the skyways. And so they knew the highest probability of finding Mother Sita was in the southern direction. So the best of Vanaras were sent in the southern direction. Who were, could some of you name Which were the Vanaras sent in the southern direction? Sorry? Hanumanji, yes, he was one of them. Who else? Sugriv himself hadn't gone. Angad was there, yes. Who else? No, not Vali. So Angad, Hanuman, Nal, Neel, Jamvan, all these mighty Vanaras. Jamvan wasn't a Vanara, of course. They were all sent in the southern direction. And Lord Ram knew it is Hanuman who is going to find Sita. So before they left, everyone took blessings from Lord Ram. They were standing in a line. Hanumanji was at the end of the line. When he met Lord Ram, he fell at Lord Ram's feet. Lord Ram picked him up by holding his shoulders. Lord Ram touched his head. And Lord Ram spoke such words of love to Hanumanji, encouraging him. Lord Ram also gave him that ring. And Lord Ram expressed his confidence in Hanuman. I know you are the one who will find Sita. When you see her, show her this ring. And then the whole party left. Now the journey to the southern side portion of India, the southernmost tip of India, was a very arduous journey. In one patch of land, it was a cursed piece of land where there was no vegetation, no fruits, no water also. Somebody in the past had cursed that land because that personality's son had passed away in that forest. Out of frustration, that person cursed the whole forest. That for a long time there will be no vegetation here, no fruits, no water as well. So these Vanaras, they were passing through this huge tract of land, spreading many miles. They passed through this tract of land. They were traveling for almost 1 month. They somehow just lived on air. Vanaras, they usually survive on fruits, honey. If they get that, they are fully satisfied. But if not that, they can somehow survive only on water. But if not water, they survive only on air. And they were doing it for 1 month. But naturally, their energy levels were dropping. So everyone was discouraged, and they were not able to continue forward. Now, the way they were walking was Angad was leading from the front and Hanumanji was leading from behind. He was at the fag end. Because sometimes a leader has to be behind everyone to push everyone forward. So, everyone had lost their hope and enthusiasm. But Hanumanji, he was unaffected by all of this. Why? Because all throughout, he was fondly remembering that memory of Lord Ram touching his shoulders, touching his head. He had taken that snapshot deep within his heart. There was no iPhone, no Android phone to take snapshots and videos, but yet he took a much deeper snapshot than we can capture today. So Hanumanji, he took in that snapshot and he was constantly remembering that. So by fondly remembering his exchanges with Lord Ram, he wasn't affected by that fatigue at all. And likewise, we see in the life of Srila Prabhupada, he always constantly remembered the instructions of his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was a pure devotee of Krishna. And so was Srila Prabhupada. He was a pure devotee of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada, he came single-handedly, all alone, to the West to spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna. And at one point, when he had many disciples, one of his disciples, Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, who was serving him personally as a personal servant for some time, he once asked Srila Prabhupada, "Oh Srila Prabhupada, if I had somehow been connected with you in India itself, I would have happily traveled with you, I would have come with you to the West, I would have served you all throughout if I had somehow taken your shelter much before. You wouldn't have been alone." Srila Prabhupada said, without any hesitation, Srila Prabhupada said, "I was never alone." My Guru Maharaj was always with me. So pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada, they constantly remember, they carry these spiritual experiences and memories all throughout. And we can learn from them. And we can ask ourselves this question: are we building more and more spiritual memories, or are we building more and more material memories? As we began today's talk, that material memories also, they accumulate, and at the end of our life, those are the deepest attachments that will come to surface. And then naturally, if we are more attached to this material world than to Krishna, we naturally come back to this material world to be born again go through that same perilous journey of material experiences. But if we opt for spiritual experiences, if we design our lives in such a way that we are gathering more and more spiritual experiences, by reading the scriptures, chanting the holy names, always associating with devotees, participating in kirtans. Now we are about to start kirtans. I would humbly request everyone to enthusiastically participate in the kirtan. That will lead to formation of more and more spiritual impressions. And these impressions will take us to spiritual perfection. So, okay, now we will, darshan will open soon. Let us take darshan of Radha Krishna to our heart's content. Let us try to drink in their beauty, and let us offer ourselves to them. How can I serve you, my dear Lord? With this spirit, we will chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we will do kirtan, and until the curtain opens, something about reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we discussed the story of, just briefly, we discussed the story of King Bharat and how he took 2 more lifetimes before spiritual perfection. So, okay, during announcements, we have something exciting to share with you about Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, now let us participate in Kirtan. Let us sing the holy names of the Lord with great enthusiasm. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Gopal ki jai.